Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of
the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast
with your host, the 2023 IBWAA Podcast Host of the Year, Jana, and her big brother, Jeff. The field's ready, the lights are on, and the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast is in your ears. It's time for another auditory adventure. We talk about our favorite sport, baseball. Make sure you check us out on social media. Oh, by the way, I'm Jeff, and this is
Jana.
Yeah, Cubby, Annette. wrong Mickey Mouse Club.
That's right.
All right. So yeah, we got lots to talk to you about today. Of course, as always, Angels, Dodgers around baseball, and Jana's going to fill us in on something that she did over the weekend, because apparently our life revolves around what Jana does. You can also see some stuff that she posted on our social media by going to Twitter, and we're at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A.
And on Instagram and Facebook at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
Don't forget to stop by our website, siblingrivalrybb.com. Hit the Fanatics links, buy some gear from your favorite team, regardless of the sport, or click on the little Ko-fi link there and donate to the show so we can go to the All-Star game or get some cool features. I don't know. Get some more T-shirts.
They actually have some really cool hats that are coming out, for armed forces. The armed forces hat they've released, and they're really cool. So check those out.
I haven't seen those yet. I will have to check those out.
Yes.
Saw the Mother's Day's hats, but not the Armed Forces Day hats. So yep, I will check that out as well. So hey, let's get to Jana and get a full start to this edition of the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast.
All right, so this weekend, the Savannah Bananas came into Albuquerque for two shows, because that's what it is. It's a show. And we won, I guess, won the lottery, because you have to put in for tickets, and then you have lottery, and our names were picked so that we could buy tickets. Sometimes you can also be like on a wait list to get tickets. You can get up to 5 tickets. It's not bad. They're $35 a piece, so that's a pretty good deal. We had some friends that went with us, and wasn't sure what to expect.
They got in on the lottery as well?
They didn't. Actually, I got in the lottery, and Planet Head got on the lottery somehow, and so we just got extra tickets.
Gotcha.
So, but it was a lot of fun. It starts out, when you get there, there's just a line, and you're like, oh, this is going to be, it's like going to an amusement park and you have to wait in line. But while you're out there, they have a band, like I guess the Bananas Band, I don't know what they call them. They have a dad bod cheerleading squad that is out there cheering.
And that all rhymes.
It does. So before the game gets started, the players come out onto the plaza, which is what in front of Isotopes Park is called the plaza. So they come through the crowd, high-fiving. They had the guy on stilts coming through. The party animals, though, they were up on the decks, and they were, jeering and dancing, and they are like the bad guys of the whole show. Once there, they just had a lot of fun. A lot of it reminded me of like the things in between, like the minor leagues that the minor leagues do with their promotions or things that they do on the field. They had one where there was a batter that was if he struck out, everybody would get a coupon for a donut. That happened 3 times. They never struck out, so nobody got a donut that night. But everybody would be cheering donut, donut, because they really cared about the donut, not the player. They have these crazy rules. If it's a walk or a passed ball, the batter takes off running, and all of the players have to touch the ball. So already the pitcher and catcher have touched the ball. So then the other players have to touch the ball before the guy, to get the guy out. So usually they're going to end up on second base safe. I did see Kyle Louigs, who we have interviewed, pitch.
Before we get to Kyle, when you say everybody's got to touch the ball, like, so the pitcher and catcher, are we talking everybody in the infield or everybody on the field?
Everybody on the field, the infield and the outfield. So the outfield, well, it just worked out that way because what I noticed them doing is they would all converge onto around second base. So if you couldn't really, so it was strategy because the runner wouldn't be able to move because by the time if they got to second base, everybody would have touched the ball at that point.
So because everybody collapses in.
Yes.
All right. Because I was going to say, if you got to do that, what's the deal? Does the catcher throw it like down to first base? First baseman throws it out to right field, center, left. And
no, they all run in.
They come into
at one point during the game, the Party Animals outfield, at least the right fielder and two of the other Party Animals, they were out there lifting weights. There's music the entire time. So like at a regular normal baseball game, once the batter steps into the box, there's no music. There was music the whole time. So that was fun because everybody was singing and they really get the crowd into it. The showman in the yellow tuxedo, Jesse Coleman, he is in the stands. So what happens is when you get tickets, depending on what tier. So I think they had like probably group A, group B. We were both group B. So by that time we were in sections, we could set in sections 201, 203, 205. That's on the third base side up, which was nice because you could see the entire field. So you had everything going on. There's really not a bad spot at Isotopes Park. But then, as you go, so by the time we got in there, like all of the bottom was full, the top, and then they had standing room only that people had nowhere to sit. Like even the berm, even the lawn was full. It was like crazy. But yeah, so he's everywhere in the stands. They bring the band up in the stands. They give out roses. Some of the players go up into the stands and give out yellow roses to people. I mean, it's just like, I felt like it was fun, but it's like, where do I look? I don't know. Like, do I look here? Because what's going on here? Or what are the Party Animals doing? Because they're always outside of the dugout dancing the entire time.
Well, they're Party
moves.
Animals.
They are. They are. So it was a fun experience, but the rules are a little crazy. They do have fan challenge. So there's two. They chose two fans based on they played rock, paper, scissors, and then they get to wear a judge, like a gown, like what a judge would wear, and then they have a confetti cannon and a sign that says fan challenge. So if they saw something, if they thought the runner was safe, then they could or out or whatever it may be, then they shoot off the confetti cannon and they have the fan challenge. Both of the fan challenges, I think, were not overturned. So also in banana ball, if a fan catches a foul ball, it is an out. That didn't happen. There were several times, but sometimes they just went out of the park. What's another rule that was just, if a batter, no bunts. If you bunt in banana ball, you are ejected from the game.
So if you wanted an early night, you're a little tired, didn't really want to play that game, bunt.
Bunt, yeah. if you step out of the batter's box, I think it's an automatic strike, or maybe you get it. Yeah, but yeah, they don't like bunts. They're like, bunts are boring, but we all know bunts are strategic and
can be very exciting.
can be very exciting. So, yeah, I'm still a baseball purist. I will always love the baseball, but this was a really fun night to go and just hang out, with family, friends, and just have fun, because that's really what it was all about. It wasn't, they had some fun things, and a lot of it is all geared towards kids. They had like these little kids with the bubble lawnmowers, so they put them in the infield, and their moms were at the home plate, and they had a ribbon, so it's a race, and so had to push the lawnmowers. But these are like 3-year-old kids. So they're just out on the field pushing the lawnmowers. There's this one little boy, he was already dressed in a banana outfit, like the full banana suit that looked like it was kind of half up, like peeled. And he almost won. And then for whatever reason, he veered away and just was mowing the infield.
He was more interested in mowing the grass with his bubbles.
Yeah. And they did have a baby, like a 14-week-old baby, that they dressed in a banana outfit, and all the Savannah Bananas went and kneeled down at the mound, and they held the baby up like Lion King. And so it's, the guy, Jesse Coleman is, you got to hand it to him. And he had to make a gazillion dollars. I mean, they had 2 shows. They had a Saturday night and a Sunday afternoon show. And also, one of the things too is how the team that scores the most runs in an inning gets a point. You get 1 point.
Okay.
So you could get 4 runs, but you're not going to get 4. You would get, so if you got more, then you get a point. Now in the 9th inning, it's however many runs. So even though like the party animals were down, I think 5-1, 5-2, they could have still come back to win if, depending on how the 9th inning went. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. So it was fun to see it in person. It's not something I would watch. You can watch, I think they have a YouTube channel and you can watch it. It's not something I would watch every night, because they have their players, they have their cast, thank you. We appreciate it, from our players and our cast. So, it's a big show. It's circus. It's probably, 70% circus, 30% baseball. I mean, when you really look at it, because the shenanigans going on in the field, you can't really say it's total baseball. But I can see why people, enjoy it, but not something that I wouldn't want to go see every night.
So if the Bananas had their way and all rules were banana rules, and Major League Baseball players had to do the stuff that they do, that would be, you wouldn't be interested in that, huh?
No, because it's fun. Like at one point they had like the party animals came out on the field and they did they had a choreographed dance to, like they were Men in Black, and it was fun, but if you really love the game of baseball, that's not what you want to watch the game.
So of the stuff that you saw happen there with the rules, obviously there's a lot of showmanship going on out there.
Oh, yeah.
Is there something that you could see that the powers that be of MLB would consider to apply to the rules of regular baseball?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I would hope not. I would hope not. But I kind of think it would be, I wouldn't put it past Manfred to say, on the pass ball. I mean, on the pass ball, you can already run, but if you got to walk, you run to first base and then everybody has to touch the ball. I could totally see them maybe.
But see, on that one, what I would see is just like the shift.
Right.
Everybody's got to stay in their spot.
Right, exactly. It wouldn't be allowed to come in. You would have to throw it around. Yeah. So,
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's, I mean, other than, I mean, they come very close. When you come in, everybody, they get it started and it's like, start the clock. And the clock is at 2 hours and that's it. You don't, and no, nothing new is started. Another inning isn't started or anything like that. It's never going to go into extra innings.
So yeah, well, I mean, they've got a show to put on, and this show, just like if you go, to the circus or you go
Yeah.
there's a flow to it, the ice capades, whatever.
Right.
The Harlem Globetrotters, they play obviously basketball and it's on a timer, but it's that same idea. We're doing the trick stuff. We're doing this.
Yes.
They've got another team, maybe not as much craziness, but
yeah. I mean, it does, the ballpark lends itself to, getting up on the dugout, on top of the dugout and then in between the innings, just like at a baseball game doing, like they had these guys in dinosaur suits and then they had to spin around on baseball bats, and then they had to go and collect, I don't remember what it was, but on the ground they had to get so many, but they were dizzy and, things like that. So there was a lot of, promo,
right, and those are
those
type
of things you've seen at minor leagues. Yeah.
And in some places, even major league.
And the majors. Right.
So, okay.
Yeah. But I mean, I would go again. Just because it was just a fun experience. It was a fun night.
I'm not going to jump through all the hoops to go there. I'm not going to sign up for it. I'm not going to, you said the tickets on the secondary market were $200-$300 a piece or something like that. So, that's
well, and I will
I'm not going to do that either. If Kyle came on the show and said, yeah, hey, if you want to come out to see us, I'll get you in. Then sure, I'll go look at it. But even after your pictures, even after seeing what you did, I'm still not. I just, if I'm going to go to a game, I'm just going to go to a plain old baseball game.
Yeah, sure. No, well, another thing is they were very clear. Like when they have their website, the tickets are not delivered until the day before. And even like we didn't get our tickets until probably it was in the evening. We got an email that said your tickets are ready and they're QR codes. But on Saturday morning, I just happened, just out of curiosity, was looking like StubHub, Vivid Seats, and like, oh, there's one seat. I have one seat available or one ticket. And it was, $200 in the lawn, $180. And I think the Savannah Bananas, they said, if you're, you can't use your tickets or if you're going to sell your tickets, do it at face value. Nobody's, unless you're super honest, you have ethics, you're not going to do that because you're going to try to make a buck. And I think, people found a way around they would take a screenshot of the QR code and then send it to whoever bought it.
Got it.
Even though the Savannah Bananas, they frown upon that, but they have to know that it's happening.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to not do that. There's ways, but that's eventually they may do that.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's Banana Ball. I was there, Jana Banana. So, it was fun. Like I said, it was a fun evening with family, friends, and we all had a good time and just singing and, hanging out.
Did they do Gwen Stefani? It's bananas. Bananas.
They didn't.
It's bananas. Yeah.
I don't remember. They played a lot of Taylor Swift.
Hollaback Girl. Oh, see, right there, I'm out.
But some of the songs, it's like, I don't even know this song. What is this? And then they do have, I think it was during the seventh inning, probably the seventh inning stretch, they have where Coldplay's Yellow. So they turn the lights down. Everybody has their flashlights out.
Oh, I saw
And you
on your
sing.
post.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. It was fun. I say I would go again, but it's like I said, it wouldn't be anytime soon. I
Right.
wouldn't get
Well,
season tickets, or if I lived in Savannah, I don't even know if they have those. I think they do, but I wouldn't do it.
well, it's a wait list there too. I know some people
Exactly.
that live in Savannah and they're on the wait list. They live right there. They're on the wait list for like 7 years.
Yeah. It's
So
crazy. It's crazy.
I get it. I don't know that they're that great that but it's something different. I think what that should show Manfred and Major League Baseball in general is that people are interested in baseball, but they do need but the rules changes that are being made now to try to bring in these fans are not the rule changes that are needed.
Yeah. Well, I sent you that video of a guy walking past. He happened to be at a game, and Rob Manfred was at the game. And he said to Rob Manfred, he said, "Hey, dumbass, get rid of the blackouts, and you'll get more people watching."
Yep.
And Rob Manfred's face was kind of resignation, like, yeah, I know. So, but you're the commissioner, so why can't this happen? But we all know there's more to it
There's a
than
multitude
that.
of reasons for sure.
Exactly.
All
So,
right. Well, unless we can get Kyle or another banana to come on at some point, I see no reason to talk about bananas baseball until the next time you go.
all right, sounds good. And that is my full report. Back to you, Jeff.
We now return you to real baseball on SRBB.
That's right.
All right, let's take a look at what's happened with the Angels. The weird part is I don't feel like the overwhelming sense of dread that most people on Twitter seem to still feel. There's something there. It's just gonna, it's like, remember the Beverly Hillbillies, and he's out, and all of a sudden he just shoots the gun. Next thing, there's some crude coming up. I don't know what he shot, but he found oil, and great. I think that's what we're in the stage of, is that we're waiting for the geyser of oil to bubble up, and it may take a little bit of time. There's still issues. We'll get to a couple of the things that came up. Angels were in Cincinnati last. We talked about what happened in Tampa Bay, but they were in Cincinnati over this last weekend for 3. First day out, not a lot to talk about. Angels really couldn't get anything going. They had 7 hits, but they could only score 1 run that day. That was Luis Rengifo. Rengifo would score, but beyond that, nothing really happened that was good. Tyler Anderson still went 7 innings. He gave up 2 of the runs. It was Adam Simber and Jose Cisnero that gave up the rest. Adam Simber specifically, who had overall been pitching pretty well, gave up 4 runs. Like I said, just not a great game for them. And Nick Lodolo from the Reds really controlled them. They just couldn't get anything going. Taylor Ward had a double. And like I said, Joe Adell knocked in Rengifo. He went 2 for 3. Rengifo was 2 for 4. Rendon had another hit. We'll talk a little bit about Rendon coming up here in a second. while they were there in Cincinnati. So 7-1, first game out. Not a surprise. Cincinnati's got a lot of exciting pieces there. So it's, Ellie De La Cruz alone can be, enough for you. But they've got some guys. Spencer Steer, Jonathan India's looking good, coming back from kind of an injury-plagued year last year. Tyler Stevenson, not hitting for high average, but he had a grand slam off of Patrick Sandoval in game 2, where they scored another 7 runs. The Angels were able to grab 5 overall, but once again, not enough when your pitching staff is not really getting the job done. Sandoval gives up 7 runs over 4 innings on 6 hits. The 5 walks versus his 6 strikeouts, those 5 walks came back to haunt him. And that was just, once again, not looking good. And in fact, there was a conversation that led to a meeting on Monday with the starting pitcher, just the starting pitchers. But here we are. We're not that far into the season. We've had a whole team meeting. Now we're going to have a meeting with the starting pitchers because they're not throwing first pitch strikes, and they were doing that in spring training.
Yeah, and in spring training, the Angels made it a point that they had a daily strike percentage on 0-0 and 1-1 counts. So in the clubhouse, they had the percentage. And Ron Washington was like, what's going on? Because getting that first strike makes a big difference for, as the hitter's OPS. And then depending on whether or not the next pitch is a strike. So, yeah, he was like, this is what we talked about in spring training. And this is what we want you to do. Why aren't you doing it?
Right.
And he wanted answers.
He did. And he also said, we need to listen to what the pitchers are saying too, because maybe somewhere we failed as instructors, as coaches. And he wanted to make sure, he said, you got such a young pitching staff. We need to consider that. So that's pretty cool that they were going to do that. Didn't hear anything about what came out of that meeting. I've been looking to see if anybody said anything. Nothing. So Angels, once again, bad night. Like I said, Sandoval overall, we can talk about other pitchers, Tyler Anderson, Reed Detmers having off nights, but they've pitched so well that we're just going to talk, it was an off night. For Sandoval, it was like, he finally had a good day. He's only had maybe one outing that you can really talk about, and this one wasn't it. Finishing up the series there, the Angels, go ahead and just let them sweep them. So what the heck? Why bother? 3-0. Before we get to that, though, Anthony Rendon, who my player of the week last week, had been playing well. He was 0 for whatever. And from that point on, he had batted like 370, 365, I think it was. He was really coming around. And he was starting to get the barrel on the ball a little bit more, and just knocking the ball out of the park, or not yet, but he was getting to that point that the power was coming back. He was getting his swing, and stretching out, legging out to beat out a throw, hamstring issue, and that took him out of the game. Zach Neto jumped in for him. Obviously at this point didn't really help as far as what the Angels ended up losing anyway. But maybe having him in there with the way he was hitting could have sparked something else. And instead of losing 7-5, it's not like the first night 7-1 when he was in the lineup. Now the question is, Anthony Rendon, what will he be? Will he be back to normal now? And I guess back to the old to his Angel self, or will he work through this and get back on the field? No telling. They're thinking, even though he's on the 10-day IL, they're thinking at least a month.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, if he is actively working, doing what he can do to get healed, to get it healed, is he doing those things? Or, as you said, will he go back to being on the IL where, maybe it won't be a month, but maybe it will be a month, maybe it'll be 2 months or the whole season.
And I wonder too, does it happen like in the past where he starts off with this hamstring and then all of a sudden he's getting eye surgery? And you're like, he had a problem with his eye?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
How does that work? Yeah.
So
yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what is his attitude. What's going to be his attitude?
Anyway, I don't want to scream past this game for one reason. Even though they lost it 3-0, Jose Soriano goes into the 6th inning with a no-hitter. Perfect game, I think, actually. Nobody'd been on base yet, and he was doing good. And Ellie De La Cruz comes up. He had struck out a player. Ellie De La Cruz comes up singles. There's the no-hitter. Perfect game gone. Gets another out, and then they would go on to he'd give up almost gave up the cycle in that one inning. Player got on an error, and then a double, which brought in De La Cruz, and a triple that, whatever it was, it ended up clearing the bases, 3 runs, and that would be the end of it for him. And the Angels couldn't put anything together to get those runs back. They had more hits, 6 hits to 5 for the Reds, but they wasted. Luis Rengifo's error didn't help, but he had given up a single before that, and they end up wasting a great outing, the longest start in Soriano's career. What you gonna do when Ellie De La Cruz turns it up on you? So the Angels come back home, have that meeting that I never heard anything about. Hopefully things were looking good, but first night out versus the Orioles at home didn't really seem to matter. Reed Detmer's on the hill. You would hope that Reed would carry on, and he does. Strikes out the first 2 batters that he faces, Gunnar Henderson and Adley Rutschman. But player of the game, I think, for the most part, Jordan Westberg draws a walk, steals a base. He does get Santander out on a ground out.
You just wanted to say his name.
I did. I really did. But the Angels will drop that one 4-2. Now, a couple things. Number one, I want to go back. Brandon Drury's been missing. He's had a hamstring issue. They're not sure when he's going to come back, but I don't think he's on the IL.
He is listed as day-to-day.
They didn't want to use him too much in Tampa Bay because of the turf that's at Tampa Bay. Cincinnati came out, played. He did hit, and I meant to mention this last week, he hit the franchise's 9,000th home run. And on this Monday game where the Angels would drop it 4-2, there's a couple things that I want to talk about with this. Number one, it was the 10,000th game in Angels history. So from when they became a team in 1961 until now, that was, so what's that, 63 years worth of baseball, or was this 64th season?
Yeah.
10,000 games. So that was kind of cool. It would have been cooler had they won it, and they had a great opportunity to win it. Bottom of the 9th, and I would say arguably a Hall of Famer, Craig Kimbrell comes in. First year with the Orioles. I know who you were thinking I would say.
I know.
That's
why I had to do double take.
I'm gonna talk about the other. So here's what happened. Kimbrel hits Joe Adell to start off the inning. Logan O'Hoppe comes on, singles, and Adell moves up 1 to second base. And then he doesn't steal third, even though he technically did defensive indifference. So, it doesn't count as a stolen base. So he's there. The rookie, and I haven't even looked up how to say his name, Ehire Adrianza strikes out, and then Luis Rengifo comes in to pinch it for Zetto, walks. So now the bases are loaded, 1 out, Nolan Ryan Shanuel, infield pop-up. And as they kept talking, Mike Trout's coming to the plate. That's what we want to do. Let's do what we can to get Mike Trout up the plate. All of us. Mike Trout's coming to the plate. All right. This is good. We got the bases loaded. Mike takes a couple pitches, and then he gets a pitch that's a little high in the zone. Right there. Like if you're watching on TV and they've got the strike zone on there, It was probably right at the top of it. So depending on where it showed, it maybe was right above it. Or it was right on the line. And he didn't agree with the call, kind of looks away. You could see he was kind of frustrated with that. The next pitch is slightly lower, but about the same place. And he watched that one go by 2. And I was sitting at home, and I hate that I was thinking this, but I'm like, I don't know that I'm all that crazy about Mike Trout coming up. The first pitch that he saw that at bat was a great pitch. He should have hammered that pitch. It wasn't exactly where he likes it, but it's real close. And he just stood there. He just stood there and watched it go by. And then he was upset that they called it a strike. I'm like, Mike, it was in the same place as the last pitch. You need to figure that out. You just can't let that go. You've seen what the umpire's calling. He didn't do it. He just let it go. And then he was upset. Like, hey. And they asked Wash about it. And you could tell he was frustrated when he answered. He says, I saw him not swing the bat. This was a 5th straight loss for the Angels. He said, bases loaded, have an opportunity to at least tie it. Which actually, if he'd have hit a home run, they would have won walk-off fashion.
Yeah.
But even a lousy single would have brought in 2 runs, and it was 4-2 at that time. It would have been 4-4, and you still had opportunities to score some more runs. But nope. He said, bases loaded, have an opportunity to at least tie it, just got to swing the bat. It's the second time in the last 9 games that the Angels game ended with Trout striking out with the tying run in scoring position. Kenley got him in Boston.
Yeah. And for a player of Mike Trout's caliber, he shouldn't be doing that. So what was he thinking? Was he thinking about his golf course? Was he just wasn't situationally aware, not saying about that the bases were loaded. I think you'd be aware of that, but getting it in his head like, I'm upset because they called that a strike and that should have been a ball. And then he let that consume his at bat.
Right. And then he lost out because he'd already taken 1 pitch, the very first pitch, as a strike. Now he doesn't have time. He has no room for error.
No.
And that's what he made. He made an error. The Angels, when they finally scored in this first game of the series versus the Orioles, it was the first time they'd scored in 18 innings. They finally scored in the 7th inning. And by then, like I said, it was already 4. They were already down by 4. Reed Detmers, didn't look bad, but in this case, with the exception of Mike Baumann for the Orioles pitching looked pretty good.
Well, and the Albert Suarez, who pitched for the Orioles, He went 2,860 days, or 7 years, 9 months, and 30 days between MLB wins.
Wow.
So he became just the second pitcher in the last 70 years to go that many days between wins.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know about
So-
that. But they did well. Like I said, he pitched 5 2/3 innings, and then with the exception of the 2 runs that Mike Baumann gave up, one of those actually went to I think would have gone to Suarez because he inherited a runner. Oh, that runner didn't score. The inherited runner didn't score when Baumann came in. He gave up the 2 all on his own. So Angels, 5-game losing streak, 18 innings of scoreless baseball. Obviously, you're not going to win no matter what team you are. If you're doing that, that's pretty clear. Some things changed though on the Tuesday night game, and the Angels were able to walk away with a win. They scored 7 innings in the first 4 innings of the game.
Wait, 7 runs in the first 7 innings? You said they scored 7 innings.
They scored 7 runs in the first 4 innings.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Grayson Rodriguez pitching for the Orioles. Here's where you see, and we could talk about the Orioles in another time, but the Orioles have such a great lineup. Their pitching, with the exception of Corbin Burns, is their downfall. And this will be the one thing that could keep them. If they can shore up their pitching a little more, I already think they're going to the World Series this year. But they're going to have to compete in the toughest division in baseball. Mm-hmm. And the Yankees don't seem to be letting their foot off the gas yet. But in this one, Grayson Rodriguez he gives up all 7 runs over those 4 innings. He goes 4 1/3 before they pull him. Griffin Canning, looking better than he has. 5 innings pitched, and gives up just 3 runs. Helps bring his ERA down a little bit. Now he's down to 7.5.
Ooh.
So he's working on it. 4 strikeouts, but 2 walks. For
the Angels, there was a change in the lineup.
Yes.
And did you think, and if it continues where he's at, so Mike Trout was moved up to the leadoff spot for the first time since 2020. Do you think this is going to be something that stays? Do you think it's good to have him in the leadoff spot to kind of be a plate setter?
I think it's a great idea because you've got a lot of young guys. And by pushing him up there to set the tone right out of the gate is awesome. And so far it seems to be working because yesterday he did something he hadn't done in 12 years. And he led off the game with a home run.
Yeah, and I loved Ron Washington, after the game. He said, that was a good move I made tonight.
Right? Pat myself on the back. Oh, something I noticed, in the past, 2 seasons ago, the Angels, like a lot of teams, they all have their home run celebrations. Yeah. The Angels had a cowboy hat, and then they started putting stickers on the cowboy hat for every home run. Mm-hmm. Last year, Shohei bought the samurai helmet, and so they had that. This year, I'm not sure where it came from. The first time I saw it, I was like, what are they doing? But it's a halo. And it's got a cutout that goes around the helmet and it lights up.
It's very cool.
And that makes sense. It's something that makes sense as far as the team goes. Yeah. So when you get that home run, you get the halo. Mike Trout hits one Tuesday night to lead off the game. He doesn't have another hit all game, but he set the tone. And the Angels end up walking away with a 7-4 victory. Nolan Schanuel continues his hit streak. I think it's up to 6 as of that game with a hit. Also had a RBI. Multiple hits, though. This is one thing that teams need to look at, because I think it throws off the other pitching staff when the bottom of your order is strong. And every single in the last 4 hitters, so Ohapi, Adele, Rengifo, and Neto all had 2 hits each. Sano, Moniak, and then Hicks came in for Moniak. None of them hit. So 2 in the middle, but the final 4, Trout, Shanuel, and Ward all had hits. But it was the bottom of the order that really drove things, with the exception of Trout's home run. That's something that they need to continue to work on, and get those guys, hitting the ball. Joe Adele has been turning it on. He went from batting 1-something. He's up to 314 now on the season. It's still limited time compared to others, but he's starting to show that he can hit there. Defense is coming around, so maybe he finally got the message. This is your last chance. If you want to be an Angel long term, this is what you got to do. Rengifo, it takes him a little bit of time to come around, but he finally is. And then Zeto, only hitting 205. I think he and Shanuel, they came up real early. And they're still there. This is their first full season. They're going to it's going to take some smacking around. Moniak as well is only batting 135. So anyway, Angels go into the rubber match yesterday afternoon. They sent Tyler Anderson to the hill. Trout leading off again. Anderson would throw 5 innings, give up 2 runs on 4 hits, strike out 7, and walk 4. Once again, the problem would be Jose Suarez. Came in, the team is down by 2. He ends up giving up 4 runs. Only Tyler Anderson and Suarez gave up any runs. Cisnero and Fulmer got out of it without any runs. It was, that 6th inning was terrible for them. The Angels, that's when the Angels after that came up and scored 3 in there. Mike Trout leading everything off. He didn't lead off the game with a home run, but his stat line looked almost exactly the same as it did the night before. Another home run. He now leads Major League Baseball with 10 of them. But, he's not batting but 237 on the season. Rendon had passed him. He needs to pick it up. Taylor Ward is in at 277. He went 1 for 4. But it didn't really matter. They couldn't get past the Orioles. It doesn't help when Gunnar Henderson, Rookie of the Year and MVP candidate so far, goes 3 for 3 and has a home run. Rutschman 2 for 5. Those guys have just been tearing it up. And a smattering of hits from there. Didn't take much. 9 hits to score their 6 runs. But Gunnar Henderson, like I said, with 3. McCann also, who's been catching lately, with a home run. So they stopped the losing streak and now started again. I guess I don't really know what to expect from this team going forward. They're now, at one point they were at 500. Now they're 5 games under. 25 games in, they're 10-15. Doesn't mean that they're out of anything yet and that there's not, but there's still so many things that we see going on with this team that they've got to figure it out. And some of it is still their learning curve, figuring out with the new boss and getting things together for him. It's just going to take a little bit of time, I guess. So the Angels are taking today off. They'll welcome in the Twins and then the Phillies before they hit the road again. And this will be, I think, with the Phillies coming back in, this will be the first time Captain Caveman is back in Anaheim since he was traded away. That way they can see what they missed out on, because he's had some successes in Philadelphia.
Sure has.
Leads us to the Angels Player of the Week. Who you got?
I don't know. Maybe I phoned this in, but
You did.
you know, just looking over box scores and just not in every game, but was pretty consistent. I mean, even in one game where he went 0 for 4, he still had an RBI with a sac fly. And so I just went with Luis Rengifo.
Yeah, he's when he's on, he's somebody that's easy to pick.
Yeah.
I went ahead and went with Nolan Shanuel.
Okay.
He in this last game he increased his hitting streak to 7 games. He's been batting about during that time frame batting about 315. 6 hits over 18 at bats or 19 at bats. Just a couple of RBIs, no extra base hits, but I give him that because he had been playing so poorly, hitting so poorly, lost his streak of on base streak through no fault of his own. I just see him coming back and, making an effort and trying to get there. So, he's a kid. We don't have anybody else really to play there. So it's worth, I think worth supporting him. Not that he's going to look at it and go, oh my God, really? I was the SRBB player of the week. And
you
go
never
on a
know.
tear and bat 1,000 for the rest of the
Maybe you
season.
will.
Well, that would be awesome, and I'll take full credit for it. But
That's right.
Oh well. The thing is that they're not playing terrible baseball. They're just not playing consistent baseball.
Yeah, consistency. And also one of the things I've seen a lot on social media with, in particular, like one Angels fan, is really trying to get people not to go to games, try to do an Oakland thing. Let's show Artie. And I get it. I understand the frustration with Artie Moreno, but how did it work out in Oakland?
Right. It didn't.
It didn't.
And Artie's not going to sell the team because nobody's coming.
Right.
And the other thing that happens then, there's more likelihood that if somebody does come and buy the team, that they would be, well, you guys aren't coming to the games. We're going to move.
Right. Exactly.
And, I don't know where they would go, and I did see a map the other day that regionally Denver, the Rockies have there's so many states around them that are empty until you get to that. But tell me what good major league city, the Cheyenne Angels.
Yeah.
The Boise, but better yet, Pocatello.
Pocatello.
I think Pocatello's got an A team.
Yeah. I've heard Salt Lake City always being, batted around as a possible. They already have their AAA team there. I'm not saying the Angels are going to move. That's not. But
no, but when you look at things, where would they go?
Right.
But aside from Nashville, Portland, maybe.
Yeah, but also just looking at Salt Lake, the Phoenix Coyotes, the NHL team, is moving to Salt Lake City. So when you already have, they already have an NBA team, they have the Jazz, they have an NHL team. What's the next logical step? An MLB team.
The ill-named Jazz.
The ill-named Jazz, yes.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
Time to take a look at the last series in the Ravine before the Dodgers hit the road. And they welcomed in the Mets. We talked about that they were coming in last week. I don't know, tough series to be excited about, I guess, from the standpoint of Dodgers play. Dodgers having some issues coming into the series. We talked about that last week. After a gangbuster start, really having some issues. So they come in. We've got Yamamoto on the mound to start things off on a Friday night. It's a cool Friday night. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, it's interesting how the Dodgers always seem to catch teams when they're on a streak or a possible streak. So the Mets came in, they were on a 4-game winning streak. So this doesn't sound like a lot, but They're coming in 4 games, and the Dodgers have always played well against the Mets. And so I thought it should be competitive. There should be, but it didn't look that way.
Well, their main colors, the main color of the Mets, is Dodger blue.
Exactly.
In honor of the Dodgers.
Right. Yes. But it wasn't. Now, I will say there are a lot of people after this game that were really upset. Dodgers lose the game 9-4. Yamamoto is on the mound. Yoshinobu Yamamoto is on the mound. He has been pitching. He does pitch 6 innings. Before he'd been pitching 5 innings. I think that they were limiting him on his innings, probably pitch count also. Gives up 7 hits, gives up 4 runs. 3 of those are earned runs. 1 walk, but has 9 strikeouts. Gives up a home run. After this game, people are like, the Dodgers, they totally wasted their money on him. He's awful, he can't get the job done. But when you look at the line, it's not, he gave up 4 of the runs, but the Mets tacked on 5 more after. So then we're looking at the bullpen, which we know there's an issue in the bullpen. And the other thing about Yamamoto, he's 25 years old. So a lot of minor league players in their MLB starts are about his age or older.
Right. He's a rookie, really. Yeah. I know he pitched in Japan, but it's more and more we're seeing Japanese baseball, how he was handled as a pitcher in Japan, much different than how he's handled here. They're even having to extend out a little bit to give him a little more rest to help him with his acclimation to Major League Baseball.
Yeah. But again, like I said, still had 9 strikeouts. So Dodger fans should be happy. They got the Jumbo Jacks that night just from Yamamoto. But what they should be upset about is the bullpen. And when we look at Dodgers bullpen, you have Brusdar Graterol has not pitched yet this season. And Blake Trinan still. When's the last time we've even seen Blake Trinan?
Did he even pitch last year?
No, I don't think he did at all. He got hurt in spring training. And so, I think he's doing I don't know. I don't even know where he is. But you're missing 2 guys, especially Graterol, who has been a big piece of that bullpen. But when you look at the bullpen, you had Daniel Hudson came in. He gave up 2 runs. One of those a home run. Joe Kelly gives up 2 runs. And then Ryan Brazier, who was really good last year, has not been as sharp as this year, also gives up the run. So it wasn't Yamamoto. It's the bullpen. But then also the Dodgers only scored 4 runs. So top of the lineup, you have Betts was 0 for 4. Ohtani was 1 for 4. And Freeman 0 for 5. And I know we were talking like, what is wrong with Freddie Freeman? And I had heard that maybe it was mechanics or something, he just wasn't swinging right. But I always think that's odd because he's been a baseball player for how long? Like, do you forget how to swing or did you try to switch it up and it's not working?
Well, that's one thing I had too. We were talking about the Angels a little bit ago and same idea. You did this well during spring training. Why did you change in the regular season? And the same thing, what happened? That's why I was wondering what's in his head. I don't think it's mechanics too much as far as, yes, it could be mechanics, but it's because of something mentally. I asked you having trouble at home or something? What's going on?
Yeah, that was one of my first thoughts too.
His wife's mad that and really wishes they would have stayed in Atlanta. Whatever. And now she's taking it out on him. I don't know. We don't know what's going on with those kind of things. Also, I know you were ready to jump on this you've got guys who are not hitting that feel like there's a bad attitude or a disconnect going on with the team. Let's blame it on Gavin Lux. He's having a bad season, and his runway, he got his shortstop job taken away from him. He's not that great at second base. He's not hitting that well overall. It's like,
he's always my scapegoat.
Is he the cancer in the?
I don't think so. I don't know that it's him, but it is really.
I don't even think Freddie Freeman knows who Gavin Lux is. And that's not Freddie's way. Maybe that's what he's upset about. This guy's been on the team.
And
he's a second baseman. I just now figured out who he was. Maybe I don't.
No, I mean, you also have, when you look at Chris Taylor, who did get a hit in this game, got 2 RBIs, but he's, for this game, his batting average 53. Like, where is Chris Taylor? What has happened to him? They're just, they just weren't hitting. Will Smith, 2 for 4. But in this game, it just, it was, there's the bullpen really didn't help. And Francisco Lindor just, he had himself a game. So, and Harrison Bader, 4 for 5, and Lindor was 2 for 5 with a home run. So,
couple things. Blake Trinan didn't pitch last year.
Yes.
Harrison Bader, this guy's coming back around and showing that he was a good signing for the Mets, because he didn't do anything last year either. He was injured, and when he wasn't injured, he was hobbled. He just wasn't playing great. And here's a team that everybody thought, oh yeah, okay. They spent all that money. They got nothing. They got rid of everybody that they spent all that money on, just about. They're on the verge of having to pay Pete Alonso, and Pete is back strong this year.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are a much better team than I think people want to admit. You figure, I was just looking at one of the box scores, Jeff McNeil. I'm not a Jeff McNeil fan, but a couple of years ago, he beat out Freddie for the batting title.
Right.
So he's at the bottom. He's not playing well there, but a 2 for 5 game in this first one versus them. I'm with you. Yoshi's got room. They paid a lot of money for him, but I think he's going to come around. And I think that when he's off, it's not because they figured him out already. It's because he's not throwing. He's not comfortable with what he's throwing, or they're not. He's just not really working it out. So he's giving them pitches to hit, and they're hitting them. But when he's on, when you watch him and he's on it, he's not unhittable, but he's very close.
Right. And so that was one of the things, the takeaway, like for this game, Dodgers lose, but then you look at, all the hate. It's like, the Dodgers, they totally screwed up by signing Yamamoto. And I don't think that's true. Next game, Dodgers lose 6-4. This was an interesting game because I think the Mets kind of had I feel like they had a plan, and that was Betts walk 3 times, Ohtani walk 3 times, Freeman walk 2 times. So if you walk the first 3 and your top 3, those guys, they get on base, watch what the middle of the lineup and even the bottom of the lineup, what they have done, then that could be a good strategy. And it ended up being, Freeman was 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs. Ohtani was 1 for 2 with a double, and Betts was 1 for 2 with a double. But those guys were walked. Teoscar Hernandez, 0. No hits. Outman had 1. Pages was 0 for that night. Lux 1 for 5, and then Austin Barnes was 0 for 3. So if that's your strategy, well, we'll let him get on base because we know the guys after them aren't going to do anything. Well, in this game, it worked out. And Gavin Stone, who was my player of the week last week, had a bad night. He only goes 3 1/3 innings, 5 walks.
Yeah, 72 pitches, I think, tells the story right there. 5 walks, one strikeout doesn't help, but in 3 innings, that's or just over 3 innings.
I
He
mean,
started the fourth. That 72 pitches is a lot of pitches in that short of amount of time.
it is.
And in the big picture, that he didn't really give up that many runs, but you could just tell he wasn't on.
Yeah, he wasn't on. And I mean, in this game, like I said it was 6-4, but the Dodgers were still kind of trying to knock on the door, lurking. So the Mets bring in Edwin Diaz to shut out the game. To close it out for him, which he did. So, yeah, I mean, this game, another, you saw Starling Marte hit a 3-run homer in this game. He was 2 for 5, but for the Mets. It just, when you watch the game, the Dodgers in this game, in Friday's game and Saturday's game, they just look flat. Like it's like they're just going through the motions of playing baseball.
Right. They're just doing it out there. They're not really engaged in it.
Yeah.
And that definitely, it was nice to see Freddie with a couple of hits, because that helped. Definitely, led well into Sunday's game.
It did. It led, and they really needed this game. Tyler Glasnow on the mound did not have a good outing against the Nationals on Jackie Robinson Day. We learned later that he was, had under the weather, had flu-like symptoms. But he comes out, and the Dodgers needed this game. He pitches 8 innings, gives up 7 hits, no runs, no walks, 10 strikeouts. And it's the first time a Dodgers pitcher has gone 8 innings. That's very telling, I think, for how they run their pitching staff. First time since Clayton Kershaw in July of 2022.
Dave Roberts may not be as bad as everybody thought he was.
Right.
But I still believe he's not a great in-game manager. He's a great manager, but he's not a statistician. Is not what I'm looking, but a tactician.
Yes.
He's not, if I go to war planning, I don't want him back calling the plans out for any battle that we're going into.
Right.
He doesn't really do a good job of managing the assets that he has.
And he's like, I mean, what do you say? An embarrassment of riches.
Right.
Right there in the dugout. But they do allow him, and it was in the 8th inning where there were times he was on the top step, and it's like he's going to come out. And I think Tyler Glasnow saw him and was like, nope, I got to get in my windup pitch clock. I got to go. And they allowed him. And then Mark Pryor did come out, and then he, struck out the hitter. So I think it was good. I think that the Dodgers need to allow their pitchers to be able to get out of those jams. They don't always do that. They're very quick at times to just pull them. And
right. And I think that Tyler, we've seen it. We had a discussion a couple seasons ago when and it was early in the season like this, or maybe even a little earlier, but they're in Minnesota, and Clayton Kershaw has a no-hitter going.
Yes.
Or maybe was it even it was at least a no-hitter, potentially a perfect game.
Yeah.
And they pulled him out early. It was like, well, we got to think about the whole season. Well, no, you set the tone for the whole season right here.
Yeah, that's true. And I had a different feeling about that at the time. But, as you go back and you look at things, you're like, they should have let him stay in. There was no reason for him not to stay in. It was early enough in the season. Is he going to get injured? Maybe they worried about that. But you're right. It set the tone. And I think for this game, for Tyler Glasnow to set the tone for the Dodger pitching staff. The Dodgers end up winning this game 10-0. They needed this game. They didn't have a good series against the Nationals, and they lost. They lost their series against San Diego. They lost the series against the Nationals, and they've lost the series against the Mets. But this third game was maybe a turning point for them.
So they did 2 runs. They had scored 2 runs, and then what was it? The 5th inning, bottom of the 5th, they explode. Pages comes up, doubles. Gavin Lux walks. Mookie singles, and Pages scores. Shohei with a single. That it actually was an infield single. But then Freddie Freeman comes in and doubles, which scores both Lux and Betts. Will Smith doubles, which scores both Shohei and Freddie. And then, a couple of Max walks, Teoscar flies out, Outman, very weak pop fly just to the first baseman, and Pages with a home run, his first of his Dodger career.
Right, which he does get that ball back.
So what did they do? Did they have to tackle somebody? And
no, I didn't hear.
Did they stab a fan?
No, I think it was I don't know. I didn't hear. I heard that he got his first home run, major league home run, the ball back. Shohei Ohtani in this game hits number 176. It's the most home runs in the MLB of a Japanese player. And he does not get the ball back. The fan declined. And the ball had been authenticated. And so he said, nope, I'm keeping it.
Well, good for him.
Yeah. So, but during this game, off the topic, but I don't know if you remember, there's comedian Elaine Boozler.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of her in a long time, heard her name in a long time. And she
First
pops
lady
up.
of comedy.
Yeah, well, and she pops up and says, well, she was going to go to the Dodger game with, her nephews. And she didn't know that they had a clear bag policy. That clear bag policy has been around in Major League Baseball for a few years at least. And it's all you have to do is go on and there's a bag policy. It's right there. That's why you can go onto our Fanatics link and get a clear bag with your favorite team's logo.
I see what you did there.
But she brings not a clear bag, and they tell her, can't come in with that. You got to take it back out to your car. You can't bring it in. She gets upset. And they're like, you're going to, if you're not going to do what we're asking, your nephews can go in, but you can't. And because you can't bring the bag in. And she's like, all right, arrest me. So they did. But I don't feel sorry for her, because before you go to a game, you look at the rules. Like, what are the rules of the stadium? And almost all of sports, basketball, whatever it may be, football. I know I've been to UNM football games. I've been to basketball games at the Pit to see the Lobos play. They all have clear bag policies. So, so that,
Right.
I guess, a little bit of draw. And I don't know if that was just because, she hasn't been get her name back in headlines, and it's the Dodgers.
Well, and then she tried to play that kind of "don't you know who I am" kind of thing.
Right.
In that all this stuff that I've done for the Dodgers, and I think a lot of people said, well, if you've been that involved with the Dodgers, how do you not know?
Right.
I mean, I get
Exactly.
it. She had a baseball bag.
Yeah.
It was fan, friendly, but it just wasn't. That's just not how it works.
Yeah, it hasn't worked that way for a while. But good game for the Dodgers, because they head out on a road trip where they go to DC to play the Nationals for 3. And then they have over the weekend there will be in Toronto, and then 3 games in Arizona on the way back home. So
first match up there.
Yep.
So. Dodgers, before we get to the players of the week, something that's interesting, we start looking at people are, the Dodger sky is falling apparently.
Oh, yeah.
In a lot of places. And of course, after that last game, that helped bring people back around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, coming up with the games versus Washington, you hope they're back on. But when you start looking at things in Major League Baseball leaders, Mookie Betts leads in WAR. Mookie Betts, he's got that WAR position players offensive WAR. Who leads Major League Baseball in batting average? Shohei.
Mm-hmm.
On base percentage, Mookie. Slugging percentage, Shohei. On base slugging, plus slugging, Shohei. Shohei leads in doubles. We just mentioned that Mike Trout leads in home runs, and home run wise, they haven't taken off there yet. But you see, as far as home runs goes, I don't think there's anybody in the top there.
No, Mookie's number is 9.
Oh, he's that's right. I forgot about Mookie.
Yeah, he's got 6. Well, so does Shohei. Shohei has 6 also.
Yeah, Shohei has 6, and he's on his way to, Japanese-born Dodger players. He's going to tie it with his next one and all that. But when you're looking at all of these things, they are leading. OPS plus, Shohei. Runs created, Shohei. All of them are that. Before Shohei took over, Mookie times on base 54 times. It's like you put all that together. These guys are putting it all together, and it's not going to be. They got out to a big start, and then they lost a few, but okay, let them lose now.
Yeah, and I've been saying that. I'm like, if they're gonna go on a losing streak, or where they're not consistently winning, do it now where you can figure things out. We kind of played around a little bit with, should they shake up the lineup? Should they, maybe move Freddie here or there, or just to kind of spread them out so they're not 1, 2, 3 in a lineup. I don't think they didn't need to do that, but maybe you could do that at the bottom of the lineup or the middle.
Right.
And to give those guys, because we have learned that Gavin Lux is going to get at least 150 at bats before they reevaluate him. He currently has a 23.9% strikeout rate. But, and I know I pile on him, but I just, he has those flashes of where he does have a good game. So then you're like, yeah, all right, let's go. And then he strikes out, the next 2 games or whatever it may be. Shohei Ohtani did say that they've had team meetings to talk about the losses. So when those meetings happened, don't know. Was it after Saturday's game? Is that what turned it around? Or was it just Tyler Glasnow, who had a phenomenal day on the mound? I've been really impressed with Glasnow.
Yeah, you're right about Tyler. There always seemed to be like something. And I think it was because of obviously the injuries in that. Since he's been here, he has shown that, obviously he's made sure that there's not a lot of heat on him. Which makes it worse for Yoshinobu.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be issues when, Shohei. I think people were like, "Hey, how come Shohei's not doing this?" Especially when he wasn't hitting with runners in scoring position, and he still has been consistently hitting, so he's helping somewhere. He's not coming through all the time, but we just talked about Mike Trout, who's a perennial MVP and former teammate, that he's not doing anything either.
Yeah.
So come on.
Yeah. There is a Dodger Dugout newsletter that comes out, let's say maybe 2 times a week, once a week, just depends, I think, on what's going on. And it's from the LA Times. It's free. You can sign up
Yeah,
for
you
it.
don't need to be a subscriber to get the email.
And Houston Mitchell is the one who puts it together. And he had done a survey in a previous newsletter, and he asked, how many games will the Dodgers win this season? And it was at least 100 was 58%. 90 to 99 was 38.8%. So people are still, feeling good that the Dodgers are going to win the majority of their games. There were some people 81 to 89, 2.8%, and then we'll finish below 500, 0.4%. So those are probably Padres fans. Then they had, right now, I think they're on pace. The last time I saw, maybe 91 games, just right now, as we're speaking. The biggest weakness. What is the biggest weakness? And the top 2, was it the bullpen, or the bottom of the lineup, or the bullpen? It was the bottom of the lineup, is what the majority of people said, 31.4%, and then the bullpen at 24.9%. But I think we've seen in the games we talked about, it is an issue where the bullpen, especially, you don't have all of the pieces there that you need.
Yeah, they're giving up too many runs, and that exposes the bottom of the lineup that they're not, they're not helping to boost everything. And then all of the pressure falls on the top 4.
Right.
And then we had a couple of games where, Will Smith wasn't in.
Mm-hmm.
Gave him a day off, which was fine, but it didn't work in their favor because of that.
Right. And when Will Smith isn't in the lineup, then I think it moves up Teoscar Hernandez, I think, hits 4th, because Austin Barnes usually bats 9th, 8th
Right.
or 9th. And then should Dave Roberts, because this is something that you hear every year and will continue to hear it, should Dave Roberts remain manager of the Dodgers? And 80% of respondents said yes, 20% said no. So I think, as you mentioned, Dave Roberts is a good manager, but he needs to learn how to be the tactician of the game in the present. Right.
He does mention, Houston does, about, who do you replace him with? Really, who's out there? Joe Madden, maybe. And if you listen to that podcast that we talked about, a couple episodes ago, Joe Madden doesn't seem like he's necessarily interested in going back to managing. He might, if the right situation, but I think he wants to be in baseball in other ways.
Well, he's doing commercials right now, so
he's got that.
Yeah.
He's showing up on people's podcasts. He does stuff with MLB Network, sits in as an analyst here and there. He's having a good time, but I think he wants to maybe get back to his roots and go back to like being minor league instructor. And the Angels would be in a good spot, even though he probably wouldn't go back to him after the way it happened.
Right.
But the best, the minor league, the guy who had was the director of minor league baseball or player development through the time that brought up all the guys who ended up winning a World Series in 2002 when he was the bench coach under Mike Scioscia, Joe Madden.
You're right.
But he brings up Bruce Bochy. He says, well, until Bruce Bochy calls, I would say till Dusty Baker even decides he wants to come out of retirement after a season. There's not really too many people out there that I can see. He's got the right spot. He still has the clubhouse, as far as I can tell. He hasn't become like a lame duck Is that the?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's not a lame duck. Yeah, and I think I mean I heard this was a really like Gabe Kapler, like as if never. That would be the worst.
I wouldn't even get Gabe Kapler to sell hot dogs.
Right. I think Dave Roberts he has a good relationship with his players, and they go to him to talk to, when Shohei went to him and talked to him about hitting with runners in scoring position. What can I do? What am I do? What are you seeing? Are you seeing something? I mean, he's a former player, so and I think, or just we saw with James Outman, he'd been in a slump, and he's has his moments where hasn't been as consistent, but just talking to the players, trying, I think, to get them out of their head. And I think, even though it drives me crazy, he's going to give them the runway, but that's part of his managing style. And I'm sure front office has a lot to do with that too.
Yeah, no doubt. One last thing, and we can bring this up for, another time, as far as the overall with the this poll that he took. Best player on the Dodgers. I think that they got it right.
Oh yeah. I did, as just a disclosure, I did answer this survey, and I did pick Mookie Betts as the best player.
88% of the 15,000 plus respondents said Mookie. And it's and even Freddie's, it's 88%. Freddie was at 5. Shohei about 3.5. Shohei, for most people, is just a hitter. And yeah, when he starts pitching, if he's pitching well, if it comes back to be successful, he'll move up. But I still don't put him ahead of Mookie.
No.
The fact that Mookie could, at this point in any series, play 3 different positions, hit the way that he's hitting.
Mm-hmm.
And I bet you, if you said, Mookie, today we need you to play third base, Mookie'd go over there and play a good third base.
Oh yeah. He's very, we call Shohei the unicorn, but Mookie Betts is a dynamic player. And when you talk about versatility, that's Mookie Betts.
I think if Mookie was a pitcher, he would have got the unicorn thing already.
Yeah.
Shohei, there's something about Shohei. I think Shohei's a much better hitter.
Yeah.
Than Mookie. Overall, when you watch Shohei, and you can tell when he's off, he pulls his head. When Shohei is on, watch his at bat. He is looking down and he's watching the ball. So think about it. If the ball was on a tee, you can watch his eye stay on the ball. You can see he goes to the ball. He watches the bat hit the ball. And it's not till then that he points out to start his run.
Right.
And when he's pulling his head, when he gets to that point where his helmet's flying off, that is when he's out and he needs to reset himself a little bit. Mm-hmm. But he has a really good eye when it comes to that. And as he gets sharper and sharper, you'll see that he'll stay up high. Mookie will slump at some point. Shohei's going to slump at some point. So who's your player of the week?
I went with Andy Pages. And Andy Pages became only the second player in the American League and National League history to have a double and a home run in the same inning in one of the first 5 games of his career. He did that against the Mets. He had a double in that 5th inning you were talking about, and then he also had a home run. Jeremy Pena of the Astros did it 2 years ago in his second career game. But I liked what I saw with Pages, so I'm going to give it to the rookie.
So you're giving him some runway here.
I'm giving him some runway.
Right.
Why not?
And the reason I say that is that I remember I was at Gavin Luck's first game and when he got called up and all this talk, and I was expecting big things. And, that's my fault for having high expectations. But he started off like Pages did, got a hit, and then he pretty much downhill from there. And I want to see this guy come up and do well, but will he be Joe Adele? Will he be Gavin Lux, or will he finally put it all together? Getting one hit on his first at bat didn't do it, but now a double and a home run in the same, picking it up, doing well. Let's see. We need consistency, and he's there. I did like you always call. I went the easy route. Shohei is my player of the week with a 444 batting average over those 3 games versus the Mets. I didn't even look at the Washington series. He had hits in those 2, had a home run, 3 RBIs, walked 5 times, and a 1532 OPS. So Shohei gets my numbers for this week and the player of the week. Time to hop in the bullpen cart, take a ride around baseball. And this week, surprise, surprise, we actually are not surprised by the players of the week for the MLB. Is that right? Did I get that right, or was that was that my imagination? Was I hallucinating when I saw your text about players of the week?
I remembered. Yes, player of the week. For the American League, Jordan Westburg of the Baltimore Orioles, 478 batting average, 2 home runs, 8 RBIs. This is the first time since 1981 that the Orioles have had back-to-back American League Players of the Week recipients. Last week's was Colton Cowser. And when it happened in 1981, do you know who that player was? It was one player.
That did it back-to-back weeks?
Yeah.
1981 with the Orioles. No. Eddie Murray. Okay. That makes sense. I was like, that's too early for Cal.
Right. And in the National League, the Phillies, Trey Turner, 462 batting average, 12 hits, and 6 of those were extra base hits. So those are the players of the week. And I noticed, I had seen it, but I guess I didn't really pay attention. But if you have the MLB app, you can vote for the player of the game in all of the games. And they have the fans' choice, and then they have MLB's choice. So if you want to get in on that, you can vote.
And that's on the MLB app?
Yeah.
Where do you do that at?
So if you go to the app and go to, pick a game. If you go to the game day and you scroll down and it says player of the game, and you can vote and see the results. So for instance, the Mets, I'm looking at the Mets-Dodgers Sunday game where the Dodgers won. The fan vote was Tyler Glasnow, and the MLB vote was Shohei Ohtani. And then they have leaderboards for the results. So kind of fun, something interactive, but you can vote for in all of the games. And I don't know if that's, maybe that's how they come up with their players of the week.
Maybe.
Yeah. So
I still don't. So you go to game day and then wrap, or?
No, if you go to game day and then you scroll down, and it's underneath, like there's the game recap, condensed game, watch archive, and then it says player of the game. And it's right above
archive. Oh, I see that now. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then vote and see results. And obviously once game's over, you're already done as far as voting goes.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah,
okay, so I'm looking at the last game of the Orioles Angels. Mm-hmm. Both the fan and the MLB vote was the same. Gunnar Henderson.
Yeah.
So during the game, do you know how long you have until after? Let's see, more information, but it's not giving me more information. Anyway, about voting. Vote, you have game. Okay. The fan vote in each game will run from the end of the 6th inning until 10 minutes after the final out.
and you can vote as many times as you'd like during the voting period.
Very
Vote
cool.
once, yeah. So something different and something interactive to do during the game. And if you want your favorite player is doing well, and so something fun that they're doing this year.
All right. Well, right on. That is fun. Something that I forgot last week, since 2021, life's been hard for the A's. Even in 2021, it was hard. But this year, they've done something they hadn't done since then. So 3 seasons worth. So far this season, they won at least 3 series back to back.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And I meant to bring that up last week, but like always, I forget.
Yeah. Well, and I forgot something that we'll bring up in our next segment.
Right.
Because I was so excited, I had to wait for it and then forgot it.
And then forgot it.
Dylan Cease became the first pitcher in Coors Field history to complete at least 7 innings, allow 1 or no hits, and issue 0 walks. And a lot of people said, wait a minute, there was a no-hitter that was thrown at Coors Field. And there was, by a Dodger, Nomo.
Hideo.
Right? I'm like, well, what's his name? But in that game, it was a no-hitter, but he walked 4. And
right.
and
yeah. If anybody gets on base, it's just a no-hitter.
Right. So there's that stat. Love those stats. And then one of the interesting things that came out of baseball this week is an umpire. Well, one, Angel Hernandez was behind the plate.
I don't care where he is. He shouldn't be on a baseball field.
But he called the Dodger Mets game. And actually, when you look at his scorecard, it wasn't bad. So it's like, oh, okay.
Well, maybe all this talk lately about how to get rid of him, because there's been a lot of it the last
A lot
few days.
of it, yes.
And
so.
the problem is that it's really hard to get rid of an umpire, it looks like. That it's going to take getting the robo-umps in place to potentially get rid of. And what is it in AAA? They have a deal where you can appeal a strike or a ball call.
Yes.
Anyway.
So that brings us to an umpire who is a veteran umpire, Hunter Wendelstedt.
And in the family business, his dad was an umpire.
Yeah, that's right. And he does something that is just like bizarro. You have Aaron Boone. It's the Yankees and the A's are playing. It's a day game. 5 pitches into the game. Hunter Wendelstedt tells Aaron Boone, hey, you need to pipe down, after he questioned a call.
Right, which he did do. And
he did.
And Aaron Boone, he knows. He's been thrown out of like 38 games or something in his career. So It's not like it's an unusual thing for him. But
there was a fan that was behind home plate, and he was heckling the umpire. And Boone said, hey, there's this guy that is, it's a fan. He tells him it's a fan.
It comes out. If you look at the video.
Yeah.
Aaron Boone's sitting there not doing anything.
No, he's just kind of leaning on the railing, just watching the game.
And there's a fan, and you can see in the video, the fan is running his mouth.
Uh-huh. He's a yapper.
Wendell said, that's enough. You're out of here.
Throws Aaron Boone out. I mean, it's ridiculous. Now, after the game, and he says it's caught, microphone caught Wendelstedt saying he didn't care who said it. Boone is out. After the game, this is what he says. I know what Aaron was saying, that it was a fan above the dugout. That's fine and dandy. There were plenty of fans that were yelling at me before I called a pitch till the end of the game. What happened was, it wasn't him. It wasn't over where the bench coach was, Brad Osmus was. It wasn't where the coaching staff and Aaron were. But Aaron Boone is the manager of the New York Yankees, and he's responsible for everything that happens in that dugout. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
In the dugout.
Exactly. The fan was not in the dugout. He didn't have special ticket to sit in the dugout and heckle the umpire. He was behind home plate. So now you're saying the manager is responsible for anyone who sits near the dugout.
Right.
So if you're behind the dugout,
anywhere in the stadium.
Right, anywhere in the stadium at this point, yes.
Well, haven't you ever seen that where, like, in a college basketball game, the fans are going rowdy and the coach will stop the game and go out and talk on the mic and go, come on.
Right.
It's a different thing. This guy paid to be there. He paid for that seat.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron doesn't know who he is. He can't tell him, unless he's a ventriloquist throwing his voice to that guy.
He could have come out and at the end of the game and said, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have thrown out Boone. I realized after it was a fan. But he didn't. He doubled down and is like, well, he's responsible for what happens in the dugout. But it didn't happen in the dugout. And he knew. He says, I knew that the noise wasn't coming from the dugout.
Yeah, he admits it, but then turns it back around and says, but I threw him out because he should have been controlling that noise too.
He's the manager. Yeah. So that is just ridiculous. Yeah, I don't even know. But if you want to go, you can get on Twitter if you go like John Boy Media, of course, they always have the good videos where you can actually hear everything.
The Athletic has it as well.
Oh, that's right. They do.
And so, yeah, that's pretty good. But one of them will have it. It'll be around even more because of that, just because of that one line. I don't care who said it. You're gone.
Right.
That's
it. And it was at the very beginning of the game. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Why? What in the world?
So this weekend is the Mexico City series. And two exciting teams are going to be playing in Mexico City. That's the Astros and the Rockies.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes.
Right on that. Let me take a look here. The Rockies are currently 6-19. They're already 8.5 games back. And Houston 7-18, 6 games back. Of course, we saw last year and I got to give the Asterix a little bit of room. They got like 5 of their starters on the IL. They just got Verlander back recently. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, maybe just keep them there.
Yeah. Yeah. They do these games for, to grow the game of baseball internationally. And I don't know that these two teams will do that, but I'm sure it'll still be a good turnout in Mexico City.
I bet you Trevor Bauer is looking to get in and watch this and see if he could talk to some scouts and go, look, you got no pitching in Houston. Here I am.
Yeah.
And yet, who was it that just got signed in Texas? Johnny Cueto?
Yes, Johnny Cueto. Yeah. So I like Johnny, but I think that goes to show that nobody wants Trevor Bauer.
Right. I'd rather sign this guy, and maybe it'll work for him because he had success with Bruce Bochy before with the Giants.
Right. Yep, exactly. So the Dodgers played the Mets, and the Mets during that week have debuted their City Connect jerseys, and they are going to debut them on Saturday. and they will wear them every Saturday, home games, except on June 1st when Darryl Strawberry's jersey is retired. The inspiration for the jersey is the concrete jungle, strength, and grit. And the colors are gray and black, which represents the concrete jungle. It does have purple on it, and I'll get to that in a minute. But the jersey's typical pinstripes, because there's pinstripes, but instead of just being a pinstripe, they are circles and diamonds that make up the subway system. The sleeve patch is inspired by the city's subway token. The purple is used to represent the 7 line, and they say that the 7 line is the one train that represents all New Yorkers equally and brings you to our home, brings you to Citi Field. Their hats are pretty cool. It is the Queensboro Bridge silhouette on the hat and the steel structure on the sleeve. So I thought that was pretty cool. And included behind a New York City on the inside of the cap, so very similar to what the Orioles did, is New York, and also the Phillies. Inside of the cap is New York City's train system, which connects all 5 of the boroughs. So I thought, I mean, they're black and gray, but if they're going for the concrete jungle look, totally on point.
I think when you start looking around at some of the other teams, I saw, the Angels and Cincinnati are playing. Cincy was wearing theirs, I think, that Friday game. The writing of Cincy reminded me of the writing of Philly. They may not be exactly the same. Now they're a little different. I'm looking right now, but it's that same idea. It's just that there's something about this jersey that, as far as it's pretty basic, but it does speak New York. I think it really does capture what most people, even if you've never been there, what people think New York is. Yeah,
I think out of the City Connects we've seen, I think this one, at least so far this year, is a winner. And I especially do like the hat. I think the hat is really cool with the bridge. Because even in that show with Kevin James back in, the King of Queens, Queensboro Bridge is in the theme song.
Oh yeah, okay, all right.
So it's a major part.
This looks like a jersey that you could probably find, in a store that's just representing New York, not specifically the Mets,
right?
But any New Yorker could wear this. Even a Yankees fan could wear this with the NYC. I'm curious to see if the Yankees will ever come up. And now, if the Yankees do have a City Connect at some point, and I didn't notice if they were on the list this year, but where would they go? Because this looks like something that would be very Yankee-ish.
Yeah. So Yankees are not one of the teams that will have their City Connect this year. And so far, the Yankees and the Athletics are the only teams without one.
Well, and the Dodgers are going to have a new one. A couple other teams are retiring theirs this year. The A's obviously don't. Are they going to get a Sacramento? Sacramento A's, jersey. They're going to have to wait till Vegas. And even then, what do they do? I guess Vegas, there's a lot of options.
Now, one of the things last season, Hal Steinbrenner was on a radio show, and he said that the Yankees had no plans to do a City Connect. And it's probably because they have very iconic uniform already.
Yeah.
And so they're just like, we're not even go there. Although I think it would be, it's something different for them and for their fans. But I think the Mets did a good job of, like you said, representing New York City, all boroughs, everybody.
Yeah, I think they did good. But if you're going to go that, why do the Dodgers The Dodgers shouldn't have one either. I
Right.
mean, if it's up to each individual team, then that's one thing. But if it's not, if everybody's got to have one, then you're going to have one. But
Yeah.
if MLB dictates, but if the Dodgers are just as iconic,
Right.
as the Yankees.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, he could say that, but the MLB could very well say, no, you're going to do a City Connect. So I guess we'll see. We'll see if next season they have one. But so far, they're not on the list for this season.
So maybe they're just saying, hey, if the A's don't have to have one,
we're not doing it either.
Before we get to your missing information segment, got to talk about Ryan Sandberg, who what is it, cancer that he's dealing with now?
Yeah.
Ryan Sandberg is going to be the 5th player to have a statue outside of Wrigley Field, and I've seen the other ones that are out there. If you go to the backside, everybody knows the marquee of Wrigley Field. If you go to the opposite corner, there's Harry Carey, and I don't remember the street corners there. I feel bad about that, but there's that, and then you got Ernie Banks up front. You've got others around there, but he is going to have his statue unveiled on June 23rd, 2024.
Yeah, very cool. I always like Ryan Sandberg, even though, watched him play many games against the Dodgers back in the day. Obviously wish him all the best. He has prostate cancer. He is going through chemotherapy treatment. So, but a big part of the Cubs. Right.
And apparently that the June 23rd game is the anniversary of the Ryan Sandberg game. June 23rd of 1984, Willie McGee from the Cardinals hit for the cycle. Ryan Sandberg for the Cubs would hit 2 home runs in the 9th and 10th innings and propel the Cubs to a 12-11 victory.
Wow.
And that is known as the Sandberg game.
And how awesome is it to be known as a Sandberg game, but it's against the Cardinals. They're
right. They're hated rival.
That's right. That's cool.
So that'll be cool. That'll be, so if you find your way to Wrigley by June 23rd or after, you'll be able to check out his statue. One thing, I guess, based on the fact that he's having, the medical issues that he's got right now, he would definitely be on the wheel.
So last week I was like, I'm going to leave this one for last because it just, this injury is just crazy, right? The way it's written. I thought you were going to
do this for last this week because it was still your favorite injury, but you better get it out of the way.
I got to get it out of the way. I'll forget again. And that is Ozzie Albies of the Atlanta Braves. And he doesn't just have a big toe fracture. He has a great big toe fracture. So a great big toe fracture. That's what he's got.
There you go. Wow.
And
maybe he's got I've never seen his feet. Maybe he's got a really giant big toe. Some people have that.
He could. And that's why they were like, it's a great big toe fracture. All right. So Merrill Kelly of the Diamondbacks is probably going to be out at least a month. He is, of course, one of their pitchers. He has a teres major strain in his right shoulder. He did get 2 MRIs to see what that was all about. But Torey Labello said he's going to be out at least a month.
Sounds like a star, like some sort of a consolation.
It does. It really does. Frankie Montas of the Reds is on the 15-day IL with soreness and swelling in his forearm. Kyle Freeland is on the 15-day IL, not because he was pitching, but because the Rockies decided to use him as a pinch runner in a game. He comes into score, slides, hurts his elbow on the slide. He's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. He's not going to need surgery, which is good news for him, and I guess for the Rockies also, but definitely for him. But yeah, not in a pitching capacity. He hurt it in a pinch running capacity.
Well, at least it's not like one of those things where he slipped putting on some sweatpants.
Right.
Or some story they have to make up.
Right, exactly. Gio Urshela is got a right hamstring strain. Christian Javier, as you mentioned, of the Astros, is on the 15-day IL with, it's either elbow or shoulder. I don't know.
I think his was it was elbow, but it wasn't like major elbow.
Yeah, it wasn't
like, hey,
major.
We might have to. It was, yeah.
Right.
It didn't. It wasn't as bad.
Exactly. You mentioned Anthony Rendon is on the IL. Kyle Hurt of the Dodgers is, who has been, when he's come out of the bullpen, has been good for the Dodgers. He's on the 15-day IL with a shoulder issue. Jacob Junis, who is a pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers, was already on the IL with a shoulder impingement. He's standing out. They're playing the Pirates. He's out in the outfield, standing there. He gets struck on the neck during batting practice by a ball, laid out on the field for 20 minutes, is taken to the hospital, and was in the hospital for observation. So not only is he on, the shoulder, he had the shoulder impingement, but now he's got the neck also. So
is it a neck because of the muscle, or did it hit him like in that carotid area?
I get, yeah.
Just a little bit of interruption in blood flow for somebody could cause some kind of head issue.
Yeah, so they're going to watch him, but he was out already. Wade Miley has left elbow inflammation. He's on the 15-day IL. Brooks Raley of the Mets, the pitcher, he is on the IL with elbow issues, but an MRI showed that he has no structural damage. Tristan Casa, the first baseman for the Red Sox, has a left rib fracture, and Cody Bellinger of the Cubs has a right rib fracture.
Evening things out.
That's right. Drew Smiley is on the 15-day IL with a right hip impingement, and Kyle Hendricks, also of the Cubs, is on the 15-day IL with back issues. Robert Stevenson of the Angels is going to have Tommy John surgery next week.
He is, hasn't even pitched a game for us. Everybody thought he was the best signing of the offseason. And then, we're seeing other guys we could have got for about the same amount of money.
Nope.
Peter
Fairbanks of the Rays, right-handed pitcher, is on the 15-day IL with a nerve-related issue. Not any more information than that. And Daniel Duarte of the Twins, also a pitcher, he is going to have Tommy John. He's going to get an internal brace. He's going to have that surgery on May 8th, and he missed most of the 2022 season because of elbow inflammation. Did pitch some in the minors last year and with the Reds at the end of the season, and then is with the Twins this season, but is out for the rest of the season. And this might be a surprise. We've seen how Blake Snell has done with the Giants. Has not been great. Well, he has landed himself on the 15-day IL with a moderate left adductor strain.
Maybe they gave him that to give him some more room, some more time to work back in and get ready.
And and they said, let's see, we're going to call it moderate. We're going to say moderate. Yes.
Right.
So that is the will of IL.
All right, before we go, a couple things. Number one, if you're not watching, obviously we all have our team, but if you're not taking a chance when you can to watch the Cleveland team, specifically Josh Naylor, you're missing out. This guy puts banana baseball to shame. He is very entertaining, and he's like, it's like watching somebody that is on WWF. You know, he's like, he gets down, he bangs the bat against his helmet. He headbutted his manager, who wore a helmet, knowing he was going to do that. He didn't have a helmet on, but his manager did. This guy is batting .321 on the season. He's got 6 home runs. He used to not be able to hit lefties. He is tearing lefties up now. He's figured out how to do that. He's much more patient, but he's just excited. He's got the fans up and rolling. Josh Naylor, who he just doesn't look like a guy who would be playing in the major leagues. But if you get a chance to watch the Guardians play, definitely check in so you can see Josh Naylor. His brother's there too, and there's a few other players like Jose Ramirez, but Josh Naylor has really been turning it up. And that's it. It's a wrap for this edition of SRBB. Don't forget, you can find us on all the social media channels. Okay, only 3, technically. Twitter at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A.
And on Instagram and Facebook at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
And, of course, our website, siblingrivalrybb.com. We talked about the Fanatics links. You can go find the special hats. They got the Mother's Day hat. You mentioned that they have the Armed Forces Day hats. Also, the City Connects. If you like those Met City Connects, they're available there as well. So go check those out and help out the show. Like I said, you can hit the Ko-fi app and help contribute just for anything. We want to go to the All-Star game, but if you want to contribute to that, that's one way to do it.
Definitely.
All right. Any last words?
No, I don't think so. I think still a baseball purist. I did not get stolen away by Banana Ball. But also, you know what we should talk about coming up is we should maybe next week talk about college baseball.
We should. We're getting to that point where we're about to hit the road to Omaha.
Yep, it's getting
not
close.
Too far away.
So if you're not already doing it, check out a game. Doesn't matter where it is, Little League, high school, middle school, high school, wherever. Minors, majors, wherever it may be, check it out. Baseball is the best.
Live baseball is perfect. All right, we'll see you next time on the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. Don't forget to swing away.